Hi, Mariéme. Great to see you again. I miss you. I haven't seen you in 6 months, I guess.
I know. Good morning, Miwaza. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's
I
getting
miss you
hotter in
too.
Tokyo.
I miss you
Yeah.
too, Miwaza. I always think about the time we have in Kakuma. I miss you. And thank you so much for everything you have done for I Am the Code. We really appreciate you being part of the team, being our creative director, giving us so much love and professionalism. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Miwaza. We all appreciate
Thank you too. Thank you too. I learned so much with I Am the Code and from you this last 6 months. It's been very intense for both of us, I guess, because we can't go out and film like we used to.
True.
But somehow we need to keep creating the content. And I think we've been doing a very good job.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
Absolutely. I think we've been quarantining together.
Exactly. I think we're quarantine buddies. Officially.
Yeah, we are. Thank you for everything.
Thank you too. So thank you for joining me again today for another I Am the Code IGTV, our episode on Black Lives Matter. I think last time we spoke, you mentioned that creating a global curriculum about Black history to educate people was imperative. Would you mind elaborating on that? What would it look like?
Absolutely. That's a very good question. I think what I meant last time, I had so much pain in me, but also, so many people coming to me and saying, Mariam, what do you think we should do, to educate our children more and to have more conversation into our living rooms, within our friends. So most of my friends are Caucasian. So they all wanted to ask what to do. And because I've been giving so many lectures in schools and going and talking to boys and girls, through the I Am the Code Foundation, I just thought that the best thing to do is start really looking at, Black history curriculum. Looking into, a couple of lesson plans where we have, every single month we have a conversation. It doesn't have to be maybe including the curriculum, but I would prefer it's included into the global curriculum. So if we can have different lesson plans where, we can just sit down and have a dialogue and conversation. The whole Black Lives Matters, as my dear friend Uli Matassar said, it's a coalition of the willing. If we are all willing to make a difference and willing to learn, willing to respect each other, willing to include people who don't have a voice, hopefully we can make a difference. So I think that having lesson plans where we can look into slavery, we can look into imperialism, we can look into colonialism, we can look into, what makes people tick and what is really diversity, not just at a race level. Look at different race groups, as I said before. Look into, I've got so many friends into the LGBT community. I've got disabled friends. I've got friends who are, really looking to come out and just be human beings in the end. So I think if we can have these dialogues within schools, because, I always said that, the school doesn't educate, but it does teach us, it does teach you quite a lot. So if we can just starting as an educator, I would love to see, this conversation taking place at the heart of, where learning is happening and where teaching is happening.
Thank you for sharing. That's such a great point. And I think, having a conversation, around race and everything that you just mentioned is so important. And you're right, we have to start it from the school, from the education, from the young age, because that's where we learn all the ideas. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your idea. I think you have great ideas and stories that people must hear. And going to the next point, yeah. What is the role of the media in bringing unique and authentic voices? And what is your impression on the media coverage of the Black Lives Matter and how it's done so far?
I've been very disappointed really with the media. I mean, it's getting better, to be honest, because now we have social media. If you just think about this 20 years ago, even 40 years ago, we didn't have this sort of communication and, very rapid information, flowing and many, many people sharing very quickly. But I think we must be very careful that the media doesn't hijack the real problem here, the real conversation we should have. And so that's why I think we need to start really educating the media, because, the media, they are the producers of ideas, and I was reading a book about, how do you produce racist ideas, and they become racist policies. And if you look at the heart of government, all of the ministers and everybody want to go now on Twitter, on Facebook, because it's a very quick information. People can just, at the palm of your hand, you can read something very quickly and make a decision. So we need to be very careful on how not only the content is disseminated, but also how it's sourced. Who are the real people and who are the real voices that we are inviting into our studios to actually share information. And because for many, many years we've been comfortable in inviting a couple of voices, and we need to be careful that we don't just stay into this complacency, and comfort in just inviting the same people. So we have children watching, we have many, many people watching. With the the neo-fascism happening right now across the world, I think the media has got their role is really to bring different voices in the studio, but also try to inform better, I think. And I just think that with the Black Lives Matters, the citizens were actually the citizen journalists, I will call them. We had citizen journalists. They were the one going and sharing information, and making sure they're taking photos. There's accountability. When people are you can see what happened with George Floyd when he died. That was citizen journalism. Someone quickly take the video, and we all across the world watch it. So I think the media need to be careful, because we're going to have the rise of citizen journalism. And so if the media is not very careful, they're going to lose, revenues, and they're going to lose a lot of people as well, because we, the citizens, we will take control of how the information is shared.
Thank you for sharing. I think you often teach me about diversity of voices and the fact that we must include marginalized communities in our conversations. Would you say that as a society, we are dismissing real voices?
Yeah, I think we do, Miraza. I think we do. And, you and I always have a conversation about diversity. And I think that the reason why I like talking to you is because you understand what I'm saying. And you want being one of the minorities of the voices, being a queer person in Japan, and we having this, me being a Black woman, we're both in a different racial group, but at the same time, we are discriminated, for equal pay, for what we look like, our voices, who's listening. So many discrimination is happening at your level, at my level, at many, many levels, and so I think when we're talking about how we can bring the voices, diversity, I think the word diversity itself is not a great one, but I will say let's start talking about participation. I think the word participation and inclusion is the best thing to do. We tend sometimes to focus on words that makes us comfortable. For me, it's not diversity, but if I can allow you to be visible and participate into conversations, and for example, what we're doing right now is very important content. It's really important content that we are sharing here. So having this information, allowing people to participate, to sit at the table, to be in the room, we must be comfortable for some people who don't look like us to actually be part of the conversation, and to allow them to have a say. If you want to call it diversity, then that's fine, but I want to call it participation, inclusion, and giving a voice to people so they can come and also help us co-create. We must allow people to come and co-create and design things with us. The co-creation component, I think the world is moving now in a way that we cannot just be ourselves, designing and creating, because even if you create, so many people will not read it or use it. So the co-creation brings, a little bit more diversity, more participation. Everybody's involved. I love co-creating with people, because that's how you find this essence of beauty, of humanity, of something that we can all consume. In a way that you can benefit you can benefit me. It's a win-win situation. We are together as human beings, and I think what I'm looking for right now is solidarity in content creation, in co-creating things that, some stuff how to do. There's some stuff I know how to do. And so, if we both co-create and combine our skills, for greater good, then, everyone benefits. But we need to really start thinking about not being selfish, but thinking about, co-creating and working together.
Thank you. That was such a beautiful point. Thank you for sharing your ideas and thoughts, Mariéme. I'm so honored that I got to have this conversation with you and stand with you to fight for justice, equality, and a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Miraza. See you another time. Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.